Hey folks, Brian Bashore here, and you've probably already seen the video we put out on the last National Walleye Tour tournament out of Lake Francis Case. Finished like 53rd, 55th, something like that. Didn't have a great tournament, but we had a really good practice. And I'm just going to show you a few things we were using. So come tournament time, things changed up a little bit, which is typically how tournament fishing goes. You have a plan, have another one, because that one's probably not going to work. Simple thing was during the tournament, they caught me a better fish. On the second day, we did lose a couple good ones. I was pulling live bait rigs, and it's just real simple. Running a Northland tackle, butterfly blade, number 2, even a number 1. I had some of these rigged up that I tied up myself with some floats on them. That actually got our bigger fish. Pulling those over the trees with a 3-ounce bottom bouncer. That's about a 4-foot lead on there. And that's it. It's pretty simple. Even ran some with spinning glows, smileys. You went through some because we're fishing trees, so you're going to break off a few times. So we mix things up, but overall chartreuse pattern or orange float with that slow turn Berkeley hook on there is, was awesome. You could go super slow with these. With that blade, you can move these at less than a quarter mile an hour. We were going anywhere from 1 to 1.5 though, speeding it up just a little bit. On those rods, since we're fishing trees, 20-pound Seaguar TactX. Okay, this stuff, I broke 2 rods. I actually broke 3 rods during the tournament. So is that because the trees, I'm trying to pull them out and snap them, whatever the case may be, but that stuff was strong as all heck. Tie that directly to the bouncer on a clip, run that live bait rig right behind it. We'd always get the bouncer back in, lose the rig, clip a new one on, keep going. So we could fish pretty quick. You're gonna lose some rigs, and that's just all there is to it. On the trolling front of things, pulled lead. So a lot of guys are doing the same thing, fishing the trees. So the whole key here is to do something different. What is everybody doing? Get outside the box just a little bit and do something different. So this wasn't too different. Quite a few guys were pulling spinner baits, and I'm talking big spinner baits, the bass spinner baits, right? Made from the guys out of Nebraska, the big eye spinner baits. Things work good. They pull through trees great. They usually work better when there's a little bit more alewife in the system, which there really isn't any here, but they work. We caught some smaller fish, excuse me, but typically bigger fish on these. Run 2 of those out the back of the boat. Then what I did a little difference was pulled spoons, right? These are like Flutter Spoons. This is an antifreeze color. Do these a lot at Green Bay and other places with a Slowdeath. Now, what do you put on that Slowdeath? White. Zman StreakZ here, 3 3/4. StreakZs, a white grub, something white that would spin in the water. Granted, it's a minnow thing, but the Slowdeath is turning it, so you can put a crawler on it as well. But you're going to come through those trees and you're going to rip that off. So plastic was definitely the ticket. We brought about a couple hundred, 2 to 220 foot of lead, and what that allowed for that to do is pull us through those trees, and that lead would just take it right on up and over, and we'd catch one occasionally, and we could just straighten the hook and put a new hook or bend it back. You don't want to bend those hooks back too many times because they're going to get weak. Okay, and attach the lead, 20-pound Seaguar Gold Label. All right, also crucial to have heavy pound test pulling through these trees. Really didn't break off. I think I only lost 2 or 3 of these the whole week. Lost a lot of hooks, so either broke this little lead or just bent that hook. So I made it nice because I didn't have a ton of these. Wasn't anticipating pulling, my Green Bay Flutter Spoons through the trees, but this worked by far the best. Caught a lot of fish with it. So those are just a couple things we did. Heavy pound test when you're in those trees. Save yourself some baits, get them back. Hopefully you don't break rods like I did. 20-pound Gold Label, 20-pound TactX, Z-Man. Slim Z's were awesome on those spoons. And don't be afraid to try out the spinner baits. That's some of the first fish I caught on these spinner baits, and that was pretty cool. You're not going to lose them. They get hooked up pretty good. But like anything you can, Slowdeath, butterfly blades, Superdeath they call them, are awesome live bait rigs. Also use those on some of the main lake points when we needed to fill out, to get that 5th, 6th fish in the box quick. So that's it. That's a little what we used, and myself and Randy as well, and even Ted was using some of the exact same gear for the last National Walleye Tour stop on Lake Francis Case out of Piggstown, South Dakota. So stay tuned. We got another one coming up here in Sault Ste. Marie at the end of July, and hopefully we have some good news to report, and we'll show you what we're doing there. Thanks for tuning in.